All right, you drunken degenerates, welcome back to the show, where we get shit-faced and dissect corporate America.
This is the Drunken Rant Uncensored.
And I'm Liam, your host with the most, ready to spill the tea and throw some shade.
I'm Olivia, and I'm here to make sure this shit show stays properly lubricated with alcohol and cynicism.
You know those green mermaid bitches are everywhere.
Oh yeah, they're like cockroaches. You can't seem to kill them.
This week, we're diving headfirst into the venti-sized cesspool that is Starbucks history.
From their questionable business practices to those dirty little secrets they try to keep hidden, we're going to expose it all.
With a healthy dose of cynicism and, well, alcohol.
So grab your favorite bottle of booze and get ready for a deep dive that's stronger than a quadruple shot of espresso.
We're calling this one, From Beans to Billions, Unmasking the Siren. Let's fucking do it.
What's really wild is that Starbucks' story isn't your typical rags to riches fairy tale. It's more like a bean-stained odyssey.
Fueled by ambition, marketing genius, and a whole latte bullshit.
Oh yeah, a whole latte bullshit.
Okay, so picture this. 1971, Seattle.
Bell-bottoms were tighter than a barista's apron, and America was drowning in a sea of shitty coffee.
But then these three dudes, Jerry, Zev, and Gordon, had a wild idea.
They didn't open a coffee shop, no. They opened a coffee store.
They were selling beans and fancy equipment like espresso machines to a nation that thought Folgers was the peak of coffee culture.
And get this, it was a hit.
Who knew Americans were secretly craving a decent cup of joe?
It's a classic case of latent demand, you know? They tapped into a need that people didn't even realize they had.
They basically created the gourmet coffee market, right?
Totally. They rode that wave straight to the bank.
So they were like the OG coffee snobs, paving the way for every artisanal, single-origin, pour-over wanker we see today.
But here's where the story gets juicier.
A few years later, this ambitious dude working for Starbucks, Howard Schultz, takes a trip to Italy.
And he has a goddamn epiphany.
Yeah, he sees all these vibrant Italian coffee bars, you know?
Filled with people, chatting, reading, basically living their best lives.
And he's like, Eureka.
America needs this espresso culture.
He wanted to create a bar for work, a capitalist's wet dream disguised as a cozy coffee shop.
He was a visionary, for sure.
He saw how work culture was changing, right? More mobile.
People needed a place to plug in, get shit done, and pretend they weren't actually at work.
And Starbucks became that third place between the soul-crushing office and the chaotic home.
Smart, right?
Right, so it's like a capitalist purgatory where you pay $5 for a latte.
And the privilege of answering emails in a slightly less depressing environment than your cubicle.
Ah, but damn, it's a genius move. They took that coffee shop vibe, cranked it up to 11 with comfy chairs, free Wi-Fi, and that signature Starbucks smell. Bam.
People were hooked.
They weren't just buying coffee, they were buying the experience.
And that, my friend, is what fueled Starbucks' meteoric rise to world domination. They created a brand that's more than just a cup of coffee.
It's a status symbol, a lifestyle, a goddamn cultural phenomenon.
A cultural phenomenon is right. But before Schultz could build his coffee empire, he had to pull off a serious power move.
He wanted to buy the company, right?
But the banks, they weren't having it. They said, hell no, this coffee fad is going to go the way of the pet rock.
Which is hilarious looking back on it.
I know, right? Can you imagine pitching a global coffee empire in a nation like China that practically invented tea time?
They were probably sipping tea pinky out while they listened to his pitch.
Probably.
But this dude was relentless. He went to venture capitalists. He even snagged Bill Gates' dad as an investor.
Talk about knowing the right people.
Finally, he scraped together enough cash to buy the company and started building his caffeinated empire.
And boy, did they expand faster than a yeast infection in a hot tub.
By the 90s, there was a Starbucks on every corner, practically.
It was like they were multiplying like rabbits hopped up on caffeine.
You couldn't walk 2 blocks without getting a whiff of burnt espresso.
And that sweet, sweet smell of corporate success.
Oh yeah, that sweet smell of corporate success.
Yeah.
So they were ruthless in their pursuit of market share, right?
Oh, absolutely. They adopted and often outright stole every innovation in the coffee world.
Like the Frappuccino.
That sugary blended concoction.
That's basically a milkshake masquerading as coffee. Right?
Exactly. And it wasn't even their idea.
Wait, what? The Frappuccino, the holy grail of basic bitches and Instagram influencers, wasn't a Starbucks original.
Nope. They bought the rights from another company back in the 90s.
And what did they do?
They turned it into a global phenomenon. It's a prime example of Starbucks' marketing genius, you know?
Right. Like they took someone else's idea, slapped their logo on it, and turns it into a cash cow.
A cash cow indeed.
I mean, seriously, think about how many of those things they sling every day.
It's mind-boggling. It's a testament to their ability to create trends and capitalize on our insatiable desire for sweet, icy drinks.
Even if they barely qualify as coffee.
Barely, but who cares when you're raking in the dough?
Well, even the mighty Starbucks, with their army of baristas and bottomless reserves of whipped cream, wasn't immune to disaster.
Oh yeah, remember 2008? The recession hit them hard.
They started closing stores, and everyone was bitching that they'd lost their soul.
It was like watching a corporate titan stumble and fall.
And you know what's ironic?
What's that?
The automation that was supposed to make them more efficient actually backfired.
People missed the personal touch, the smell of freshly ground coffee, the illusion that they were getting a handcrafted beverage.
Instead of a mass-produced caffeine fix.
Yeah.
Right, so Schultz, like the prodigal son of coffee, came back from semi-retirement to save the day.
He brought back fresh grinding, ditched some of the automated crap.
He basically reminded everyone why they fell for Starbucks in the first place.
It was a classic PR move. Admit your mistakes, show some humility, and win back the hearts and wallets of your customers.
And then there's the Starbucks app, right?
That thing's a loyalty program on steroids.
It's more addictive than a double shot of espresso. Load it up with money, collect your stars, get your free drinks. It seems harmless enough.
But here's the kicker. It's basically a digital gift card that earns Starbucks interest while you wait for your next caffeine fix.
Hold up, are you telling me we're basically giving Starbucks an interest-free loan every time we reload our app?
Yep, they're sitting on a mountain of preloaded cash, laughing all the way to the bank.
Damn, that's some next-level capitalist sorcery right there. And speaking of sorcery, let's talk about this new head of retail operations they hired. This guy's resume is straight out of a spy thriller. Ex-CIA and Pinkerton Detective Agency.
It's enough to make you wonder if Starbucks is brewing something more sinister than a caramel macchiato.
Maybe they're preparing for a full-on barista uprising. Or maybe they know the truth about the lizard people running the government. Who knows?
Who knows?
But it's definitely shady as hell.
Ah.
All right, folks, grab your tinfoil hats because this next one is a real doozy. The CEO, right? This guy gets to super commute from sunny California to Seattle 3 times a week on the Starbucks private jet.
1,000 miles round trip 3 times a week. You gotta admire the man's commitment to his job, I guess.
Or maybe it's just a severe aversion to commercial flights.
Could be.
Yeah, or maybe he just likes the smell of jet fuel in the morning. But let's be real, it's an environmental shit show.
All that carbon just so he can avoid moving.
Talk about hypocrisy, and that raises another interesting point.
What's that?
Starbucks loves to preach about sustainability and ethical sourcing. But actions speak louder than words.
That's true. What message does it send when their CEO is racking up frequent flyer miles like a Kardashian on a shopping spree?
It's like they're saying, save the planet, but only after our CEO gets his private jet ride in his bonus. So, is Starbucks just another corporate giant, all talk and no action, more concerned with profits than people and the planet? Or are they actually trying to do some good in the world, even if they trip over their own hypocrisy along the way?
We've laid it all out there. The good, the bad, and the caffeinated. Now it's your turn to decide. Hit us up in the comments and let us know what you think.
And stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dig even deeper into the world of Starbucks and uncover even more secrets that'll make you spit out your latte.
You don't want to miss this.
Before we move on, I think we need to address something.
Oh, really? Don't tell me.
Yeah.
They're offsetting their carbon footprint, the CEO is.
Yeah?
By planting a tree for every mile he flies or some other bullshit PR stunt.
No, not quite. Apparently when Starbucks offered him the job, he wasn't really into the idea of moving, uprooting his life from California to Seattle.
Yeah, who wants to trade sunshine for drizzle? I mean, seriously.
So they just said, okay, no problem. We'll just fly you up here 3 times a week.
Yeah.
On our private jet. Anything for you, Mr. CEO?
Pretty much. Yeah, they really wanted him. He was like their top choice,
Of course.
So I guess a few private jet rides were a small price to pay for his leadership.
Right?
Or maybe it was in his contract. Who knows?
Yeah, that's baller. I gotta respect the hustle, even if it is at the expense of the planet. Speaking of shady shit, let's get back to that ex-CIA guy.
Right.
Ex-Pinkerton,
Yeah.
Then they hired to head up retail operations. Seriously.
I know.
What the hell is a guy with that kind of resume doing at a coffee company? It's like they're expecting a full-on barista rebellion.
Seriously, maybe he's just there to make sure those baristas don't unionize.
Right.
And demand a living wage.
That's probably it.
Right. Or maybe he's like brewing up some top secret plan to infiltrate the global coffee market and control the world's caffeine supply.
You think?
Yeah.
Or maybe he just really, really loves coffee and happens to have a little side hustle as, like, a government assassin.
Right.
Okay, listeners.
Yeah.
Hit us up in the comments with your craziest conspiracy theories about this guy.
Yeah.
We want to hear your wildest idea.
I know. Like, what is going on there?
It's weird.
Super weird.
So now for a company that prides itself on being all woke and socially responsible, they sure do have a knack for stepping in it. Remember that Race Together campaign?
Oh my God. How could we forget that dumpster fire?
Seriously.
That was a PR disaster of epic proportions.
Seriously. For those of you who managed to block it out from your memory, let's rewind back to 2015.
Yeah.
Starbucks, in all their infinite wisdom, decided they were going to solve racism in America.
Oh, yeah.
By having their baristas write "race together" on customers' cups.
Yeah.
And spark conversations about race relations.
It was about as effective as putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
Seriously.
People saw right through their bullshit.
Oh, yeah. They were accused of being tone deaf.
Right.
Trivializing a complex issue.
Right.
And trying to profit off social justice.
It was a total cringe fest.
Totally. They basically told their baristas, who were probably making minimum wage and dealing with enough bullshit already, to go out there and solve America's race problem over a latte.
Right. It's like, come on. It's a prime example of how even well-intentioned companies can just fuck up royally when they try to tackle social issues without actually,
Understanding them.
Yeah.
And speaking of fucking up, how about that time they banned employees from wearing Black Lives Matter attire? Talk about a mixed message. On the one hand, they want to have these deep conversations about race, but on the other hand, they're silencing their own employees who are trying to express their support for a movement for racial justice.
Yeah, I know. They claim that it was to maintain a neutral environment in their stores, but come on.
Right.
It came across as incredibly insensitive, especially given their previous attempts to, engage in conversations about race.
Right. It's like they're saying, we care about social justice, but only when it doesn't offend our conservative customers or hurt our bottom line.
Right.
And let's not forget about their long and storied history of union busting. I mean, Starbucks has been accused of actively trying to prevent their employees from unionizing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty ironic for a company that loves to spout off about creating a culture of belonging.
I know. There have been so many reports of them firing employees who were involved in union organizing efforts,
Yeah.
They've also been accused of intimidating and harassing workers who support unions, which is some straight-up anti-worker bullshit.
Right. It's like they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be seen as a progressive company, but they also want to maintain their iron grip on their workforce and keep those labor costs down.
Exactly. It definitely calls into question their whole progressive image. Like, are they really committed to creating a fair and equitable workplace? Who knows?
So the million-dollar question is Starbucks all talk and no action when it comes to social responsibility? Are they genuinely trying to make a positive impact, or are they just virtue signaling to boost their image and appease their woke customer base?
Right.
All right, folks, time for another round of audience participation. Hit us up in the comments and let us know what you think. Is Starbucks truly committed to social responsibility, or are they just masters of corporate hypocrisy?
Let us know.
Now, let's shift gears and talk about one of Starbucks' most ingenious creations, the Frappuccino. I mean, who doesn't love a frosty blended coffee drink on a hot day? It's like a milkshake for adults.
It is. Except it costs twice as much and has enough sugar to send you into a diabetic coma.
Oh, for sure.
But the Frappuccino is more than just a delicious, albeit overpriced, beverage. It's a marketing masterpiece. It's been a major driver of their financial success.
Oh, that Frappuccino money is no joke. But here's something that most people don't know. They didn't even invent the Frappuccino.
Yeah, they bought the rights to the drink from a small coffee chain in Boston back in the 90s.
And turned it into a global phenomenon.
Exactly. It's a brilliant example of how they're able to take an existing product, put their own spin on it.
And market the hell out of it.
Market the hell out of it, yeah.
They're like the Midas of the coffee world. Except instead of turning everything they touch into gold, they turn it into a sugary, caffeinated concoction with a ridiculous name and a price tag to match.
And it's played a crucial role in shaping Starbucks' image, especially among younger generations. I mean, it's become synonymous with the brand.
With indulgence.
Yeah, with that treat yourself mentality.
That's so prevalent in our culture today.
It's so prevalent.
It's like the gateway drug to the Starbucks lifestyle. You start with a Frappuccino, and the next thing you know, you're ordering a venti iced caramel macchiato with extra whip and oat milk.
And wondering how you just spent $10 on a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. And let's not forget about all the endless customization options.
Oh my God, I know. You can add flavors, syrups, toppings, different types of milk. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
They've created like a whole subculture around the Frappuccino. There are websites and social media accounts dedicated to sharing, like Frappuccino recipes and photos.
I know. People are obsessed with creating, like, the most elaborate
and Instagrammable
Frappuccino creations.
It's insane.
It's a testament to the power of branding and marketing, you know? Starbucks has managed to turn a simple coffee drink into a cultural icon.
A status symbol.
My highly profitable product.
And let's be real, those Frappuccinos are basically liquid crack.
They are.
They're addictive as hell.
Yeah.
And Starbucks knows it. They've got us hooked on the sugar, the caffeine.
And the illusion of luxury.
The illusion of luxury.
So next time you're sipping on a Frappuccino, remember that you're not just enjoying a delicious beverage.
Right.
You're participating in a cultural phenomenon.
That's made Starbucks a global empire.
And fueled our collective addiction to sugar and caffeine.
So before we wrap up this deep dive, we have to address the elephant in the room. Or should I say, the disposable cup in the landfill. I mean, those iconic white cups with the green logo.
I know.
As recognizable as the Coca-Cola bottle or the McDonald's Golden Arches.
They're everywhere. On the street, in offices, overflowing in garbage cans.
They've become a symbol of our caffeine-fueled society.
Our addiction to convenience and our disregard for the environment.
It's kind of ironic that a company that talks so much about sustainability is responsible for so much garbage. They're basically drowning the planet in a sea of disposable cups.
I know. And they've tried to address this issue by introducing, reusable cups and offering discounts to customers who bring their own cups, but come on.
Most people are still using those disposable cups because they're convenient and we're all lazy as hell.
We are. It's like they're saying, we care about the environment, but we're not going to force our customers to change their habits, especially if it means losing money.
Exactly. Okay, listeners, last question of the day. Do you think Starbucks is doing enough to address their environmental impact? Or are they just paying lip service to sustainability while continuing to pump out millions of disposable cups every year?
Right.
Hit us up in the comments and let us know what you think. Welcome back, you magnificent bastards. It's time for the final chapter of our Starbucks saga.
We've traveled a long road, haven't we? From a humble bean store in Seattle to world domination.
We've seen it all. Their marketing genius, their ethical stumbles, and the glorious money-printing machine that is the Frappuccino.
So after peeling back all those layers, what's the verdict on the siren and her seductive brew?
Well, they're masters of branding, that's for sure. They've created an empire by selling not just coffee, but an experience.
A lifestyle, right. They've tapped into our desire for connection, for convenience, for a little bit of luxury in this crazy world.
Right. They make us feel good about dropping $5 on a latte, even though it's mostly milk and sugar.
It's like a capitalist Jedi mind trick with extra whipped cream.
But we can't ignore the dark side, right? Starbucks is a complicated beast, full of contradictions.
They talk about social responsibility, but they've also been caught union busting. And there's the racial bias, the CEO's private jet.
It's a reminder that even the wokest companies are still driven by the bottom line. They'll talk the talk as long as the money keeps flowing.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Well,
knowing all this, how do you feel about that next Starbucks run?
Are you still going to shell out your hard-earned cash for a caramel macchiato? Knowing it might be funding the CEO's lavish lifestyle? Or some shady anti-union campaign?
Do you see Starbucks for what it really is? A giant corporation playing the game.
Using marketing and social responsibility to rake in the profits.
Even if it means sacrificing their values along the way.
We're not here to judge you beautiful sons of bitches. We just lay out the facts. The good, the bad, and the caffeinated.
You make up your own damn mind.
But here's one final thought to chew on.
In a world where we're trying to be more conscious about our choices, our impact on society, the environment.
Can we still enjoy a guilt-free cup of Starbucks?
Or is the price of convenience and a caffeine fix just too damn high?
Hit us up in the comments. Let us know your thoughts.
And as always, thanks for tuning in to The Drunken Rant Uncensored.
Keep it real, raw, and unapologetically caffeinated.
Stay woke.
Stay thirsty.
Remember,
The truth is out there, even if it's buried under a mountain of whipped cream.
yeah.
And corporate bullshit.
Cheers.
Cheers, motherfucker.